Hello and welcome to our coverage of the final EWS-E race of the year. Welcome to the Vittoria EWS-E Tweed Valley. Hello and welcome to the stunning surroundings of Traquair House, and we are here for an epic battle. A short but sweet EWS-E season in 2021 is set to draw to a close. We're going to crown some champions, and if the rest of the year is anything to go by, we should be in for a classic. Before we dive into the action then, let's have a quick run through the all-important championship standings ahead of this final round of the year. Orbea Fox's Laura Charles leads Tracey Moseley by 180 points. Charles, really the surprise package of 2021. Would look like being her title to lose, but you can never bet against somebody who has won as many championships as Tracey Moseley. Nico Vouilloz has a 170-point lead over Kevin Murray. Vouilloz, 44 years young, the greatest of all time on a downhill bike, and just mesmerising on the e-bikes. There we have it then. The stage is set for what promises to be an absolutely epic EWS-E finale. Let's dive right in. Here is stage one of the Vittoria EWS-E Tweed Valley. The weather decided to step in to make an already tough day all the tougher. Wind and rain would turn extremely physical stages into a mixture of liquid mud and ice-like routes. Loop 1 consisted of no fewer than 5 stages and a total distance of 16.7 kilometres. Proceedings got off to an extremely tricky start, however, with the opening of the day's 2 power stages, the now virtually traction-free Alistair Lees. Going was treacherous, with grip being virtually impossible to find.
Physical. Ruru's really done a number on us for that stage 1, the climb stage up Alistair Lees. Stone cold, sitting in the peeing rain, trying to manage goggles, temperature, trying to stay dry and then focus on a climb that's basically 4 minutes of maximum effort, so got off to a bad start.
There were some legends of the sport racing the final EWS-E of the year. Rob Warner was in attendance and was perfectly poised to attack the rest of the pack from last position after the opening loop.
Thing.
Welcome to the Tweed Valley.
I got into that stage, come down here, crossed the finish line, and then crashed into the barriers and snapped my front brake lever off, clean off. And this ain't really a place to be riding around with no front brake. It's quite steep. So Shimano are on it, I am factory, and I'll be back in a minute.
Chain Reaction Cycles Sam Hill was taking on his first ever EWS-E on his nuke-proof Megawatt. After the first loop, Hill was sitting in 15th. In the women's race, it was a 2-horse race. It had been extremely tight all season between Tracey Moseley and Laura Charles. A 2-time EWS champ was on home soil for this one and needed a result.
long time since I've kind of done what feels like a bit of a survival day, which I think is all it's going to be really. So try and ride the best I can and see what happens. I've not been home since finale, so I don't have 3 sets of kit with me, so I'm going to be cold and wet, but that's alright.
Tracey Moseley won the first loop of the day. The Miranda Factory Racing duo of Emmanuel Pombo and Tiago Ladera were sitting in 6th and 7th in the overall after Loop 1. However, despite the conditions, it was still French riders dominating the front of the pro men's race.
Not easy. I'm not so used with these conditions, but I did a good start on the power stage, and after I lost a bit of time on the other stage, but still in the game, I think.
Nico Vouilloz was rising to the occasion and taking the tricky conditions in his stride. But for all Vouilloz's electrifying pace on the e-bikes, he couldn't catch the former downhill world champion and local rider Rhys Wilson, who took the win on Loop 1.
Absolutely hammered the downhills, and I think we're clawing our way back. I'm not very sure where we're sitting after that last one, but I'm enjoying it. Once we get going down, I'm really enjoying it. The stages aren't too physical. That last one had a little bit of pedalling where you're like over the motor assistance. Man, it hurts. So hopefully we don't have too much more of that, but yeah, mega so far. I'm enjoying it.
Today's second loop, the racers swapped hills for one just outside the town of Innerleven for 4 more stages totalling a sizable 23 kilometres of distance and nearly 1,000 vertical metres of descending. The rain persisted. A result in the Tweed Valley became more impressive by the minute. When grip is at a premium, tradition dictates that you need to start talking about Sam Hill, and sure enough, the Australian won his first EWS-E stage on stage 7. He went 4.5 seconds faster than Antoine Roguet. The taste of a stage victory had ignited something in Hill. The speed was there, and it was working. He won again on stage 8 and 9. It was disaster for Scotland's Rhys Wilson. A crash on stage 6 left him out of the reckoning.
A silly one. I'm annoyed. One of those front wheel washouts. You don't really have very good brakes today. There's so much water on the ground, and between liaisons you don't use your brakes, and yeah, just no brakes basically. Came into a corner, lost the front wheel, went behind a tree, and I just twisted myself really awkwardly, and when I hit the ground I got winded, and every time I was trying to breathe my back was hurting. So you don't want to play around with your back, neck, anything like that. So yeah, decided to call it.
I killed my battery by the start of stage 7. I mean, let's be honest, I've just struggled even with it in boost mode to get up them hills.
I thought you would dive back in when you saw that Rhys was out. You know, that's potentially a podium spot.
Is he out?
Yeah.
Go and get that battery. He's out, is he?
He's definitely out.
Oh, I didn't know the wind was back on.
Yeah.
Sam Hill's chain reaction teammate Keelan Grant was now up into 7th after loop 2. Pombo and Ladera were both warming to conditions. They were now 4th and 5th respectively. With Wilson out, battle again raged between the Lapierre Overvolt squad at the front of the race.
Was good, like the track are like better for me, I think, like less tight and everything, so it's better for me.
Vouilloz had been fighting hard to rein Wilson back in. With the Scotsman now out of contention, he found himself suddenly 9 seconds to the good.
This loop was steep, so it was really hard for. We have really to manage our speed with the brake feeling because the conditions are tricky and super steep. So no crash so far, but close call sometime.
There is no grip, not a lot of mud, but all the roots and rocks are super slippery every time. So you need to stay smooth and be careful, but it's very cool.
After loop 2 then, Tracey Moseley had extended her lead to a massive 2 minutes and 37 seconds. The third and final loop was set to be 17 kilometres in length and kicked off with the second and final of the day's power stages, the dreaded Col de Carnegie. The Col de Carnegie was the final power stage of the season and was by now littered with grip-free routes and tricky rock steps.
On the wheel.
Tracey Moseley took victory on the stage, but there was still only 5 seconds between her and Laura Charles. The final result in the Pro Women's race saw Tracey Moseley take the win in the Tweed Valley, just as she had done back in 2015 at the EWS, when it was last held in Scotland. Sam Hill's stage-winning streak came to an end on stage 10. He would finish the final uphill test in 9th. But it began straight away again once the stages pointed down. Hill won on stage 11. Nico Vouilloz's lead was out to 42 seconds from his two young teammates, but it was beginning to look like the real threat was going to come from Sam Hill. That threat seemed even more real when 35 seconds worth of penalties were added to Antoine Roguet's time for a pair of failed check-ins on stages 13 and 14. Vouilloz had lost one of his rear gunners. Sam Hill was up into third. Could he now hone in on the top spot? Hill had simply too big a deficit to make up, however. Despite winning 7 stages in the second half of the day, the time lost on the opening power stage would come back to haunt him.
Are we ready to welcome Monsieur Nico Vouilloz, ladies and gentlemen?
Nico Vouilloz completed a perfect EWS-E season with a hard-fought win at the Vittoria EWS-E Tweed Valley. The Frenchman had not only prevailed on stages made perilous by prime Scottish conditions, but he'd managed to balance his hard-fought lead to neutralise the resurgent Hill in the afternoon. The chain reaction cycles rider would be rewarded with a third place behind Kevin Murray. Roguet was in 4th, just ahead of Emmanuel Pombo and Keelan Grant.
They are really tough and don't look too much the locals, especially Rhys, who I was really thinking he will be ahead, and it was the case. The wind was okay, in fact, globally, and the track, even if it's muddy, it's rideable. We didn't ride with mud tires, so at the end it was a good experience. Yeah.
That all meant that Nico Vouilloz was crowned EWS-E Champion 2021. Kevin Murray, as Lapierre Overvolt teammate, was second, and Portugal's Emmanuel Pombo was rewarded for a superb season of racing with a third place. Moseley may have won the battle, but Laura Charles won the war. She took part in her first ever EWS-E with just a couple of days' notice and has gone on to lock up her first ever EWS-E championship. In the team's championship then, it's probably no surprise to see that Lapierre Overvolt steamrollering off the podium places in 2021 have them crowned champions. Orbea Enduro team were second and Miranda Factory team were third. There we have it then. Nico Vouilloz survives a sustained attack from Sam Hill at the end of this race to walk away with a 2021 EWS-E title, as well as victory at the Vittoria EWS-E Tweed Valley. Tracey Moseley won here today, but Laura Charles takes the title, a race she only decided to enter in Switzerland just a couple of days before it. Thanks for watching here in the EMBN. Don't forget you can follow all the off-season goings-on from the EWS-E right here, as well as on the Enduro World Series social channels. Thanks for watching this season. We'll see you next year.
Right.